Join me as I uncover the 5 shocking truths about electric cars and their impact on climate change. You won't believe what I found out. When we think of electric cars, we often associate them with being an eco-friendly alternative to traditional vehicles. And while that's true to some extent, there's a lot more to the story. Today, we're going to dive into the real impact of electric cars on climate change, separating fact from fiction, and exploring the surprising truths that might just change the way you think about these vehicles. There's a lot of misinformation out there about electric cars, and it's easy to get caught up in the hype. We've all heard the claims that they're zero-emission vehicles, that they're the silver bullet to solving our climate crisis. But the reality is far more complex. For one, the production process for electric cars is far from environmentally friendly. The mining of lithium and other rare earth metals required for their batteries has devastating environmental consequences, from polluted rivers to toxic waste. And let's not forget about the energy required to manufacture these cars, often generated by fossil fuels. Not to mention, the way we charge our electric cars matters a lot. If we're plugging them into a power grid that's still largely reliant on fossil fuels, then we're not really making a dent in our carbon footprint. In fact, some studies suggest that electric cars charged from the average U.S. power grid produce more emissions than a hybrid vehicle. It's time to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Another myth is that electric cars are inherently better for the environment than traditional vehicles. But what if I told you that the production process for electric cars generates more emissions than the production of traditional vehicles? It's true. And when you factor in the emissions generated by charging, the gap between electric and traditional vehicles narrows significantly. So, what's the real story here? When we take a closer look at the life cycle emissions of electric cars, we start to see a different picture emerge. While they do produce more emissions during the production process, their overall emissions are significantly lower than traditional vehicles. In fact, studies suggest that electric cars can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 70% compared to traditional vehicles. That's a huge deal. And it gets even better. Electric cars can actually help combat climate change by utilizing renewable energy sources and reducing our reliance on fossil fuels. So, what does it all mean? Electric cars are not the magic solution to our climate crisis, but they are an important part of the puzzle. By understanding the real environmental impact of these vehicles, we can make informed decisions about how to reduce our carbon footprint. And let's be real, every little bit counts. If you want to learn more about electric cars and climate change, be sure to check out our other videos on the topic. And don't forget to share your thoughts and questions in the comments section below. Let's keep the conversation going.